Okay, so we're getting to the basic gist of what's really going on in chapter 3. We kind of said it on the last one. If I have a couple of arrows and a series of dots, and whether or not it crosses or touches at each of them, and I connect all that up, that counts as the graph, even if it's maybe not as spiky as the one my calculator would have drawn. So that's really everything you need, and I already did it all. Well, now let's kind of start putting things together. Okay, well, leading coefficient. Now this is a problem because like the last time we did leading coefficient, it was all already multiplied out, and this isn't multiplied out. Okay, that doesn't count as the leading coefficient. It's supposed to have a plus and another plus and a minus and a plus. It's supposed to just be all multiplied out. Okay, if I start foiling things together, all of these things are going to have to be multiplied in to make one giant thing with lots of pluses and minuses. Now, the thing is that when I do all this foiling, like if I foil a couple of these together and then multiply that in, I'm going to keep doing first, outer, inner, last. And every time I do first, I'm going to write that down first. And then when I go to do first on the next one, I'm going to take the first thing out of what I got there, multiply it by another first. It's actually just all my firsts here. Okay, well when I do this, when I do first, I'll have x squared, because I'll do x times x, and then I'll have some other stuff, and the other stuff won't figure out in my first, so I'm just not going to figure it out at all. Okay, when I do some stuff here, multiply it, the first is all going to multiply out to x to the 3, this is an x, and this negative 3 is still going to count, and that x squared. Okay, so I have boiled any of these ones in parentheses. The only part that shows up in my firsts for my leading coefficient is the firsts out of each one of them. The powers are still going to be there, but only the x's are going to be there. This minus 1, minus 3, plus 1, those aren't going to show up in my firsts when I do first, outer, inner, last. So I'm not keeping track of them because I only care about what I get for first. So negative 3x squared times x, that's negative 3x cubed, times x squared, negative 3x to the 5th, times x cubed, negative 3x to the 8. Okay, negative 3x to the 8. I was way too lazy to multiply the whole thing together, but I can guarantee you if I did, that would be the first thing you would see. So leading coefficient on that, it's even and negative, so that's going to be down and down. Okay, that's where I'd get that from. And then I can go in and figure out the dots. X squared, that's the 0 of 0. Multiplicity 2, so it touches. There's the 0 of 1. Multiplicity 1, it crosses. And 0 of 3. Multiplicity 2, so it touches. And 0 of negative 1, multiplicity 3, so it crosses. And it didn't ask me to, but if I really wanted to now, I could just draw a graph to go with that. I could just say, all right, well, let's see, I need an arrow way over here and an arrow way over here, and they're both down and down. Then there's going to be dots at negative 1, 0, 1, and 3. And I know I'm going to be coming up from this arrow that's already down there. And when it gets to that one, I'm supposed to cross. So I'll go all the way up through it. And then when it gets to that one, I'm just supposed to touch it. And then when it gets to that one, I'm supposed to cross again. And then when it gets to that one, it's just supposed to touch, and then it's supposed to connect up with that. And that would be kind of what the graph looks like. It didn't ask me to, so I don't have to do that part. But that's why knowing these arrows and these dots and whether or not they cross or touch counts as making the entire picture. All right, so let's try this other one in here. Okay, first of all, I need that leading coefficient, so this is 9x cubed times just the x and the squared x squared, just the x and the 5, x to the 5th, x to the 1. So 9x to the 10, 9x to the 11. All right, 11. So that's odd. That's kind of like an x cubed. It goes like that. And then my zeros are at 0, 2, -4, 3, with multiplicity 3, 2, 5, and 1. Okay, so this one's going to cross, touch, cross, cross. And that's everything this question is asking for.